Hey guys. Hey guys. So hi guys, welcome to Nonduality Talk. If this is the first time you're joining, then basically the information is below of how you ask questions. Basically, you have to send me a Skype request. My Skype is Lisa Cairns 12, and then I'll accept you, and you can either write a question or you can call. And I do these talks every Sunday at 6 p.m. and every Wednesday at 6 p.m. And if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you get updates, I'm going to show you how. So this is how you subscribe. You go to YouTube, you have to have a YouTube account. And this is, you'll get updates every time I go live. So put in Lisa Cairns and then click on my channel. And then you press subscribe. And next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell. And you just click the bell and then tick on send notifications. And then you should get a message every time I go live. But it's basically Wednesday and Sunday. I sometimes go live, other times, but not so often. And if you want to subscribe to my website, then you go to www.lisacairns.com, like this. And then a subscribe should just come up here, and then you just put in your email, and then you'll get newsletters every couple of months. I don't normally do it every month. Then you can also go to my events page. This is an old recording, but if you go to the events, and you'll see that I've got 2 events coming up. The first event is in a retreat in the south of France. There's very limited places left on this retreat, so you have to email soon if you want to get a place. It is the 16th of June till I think the 23rd. It's 1 week, and it's in a very beautiful spot in a valley right on the river. And you can see more about that on my website. The other event that I currently have is in August. I will be in Totnes, UK. At the moment we've only got 1 day, but we're thinking of doing a whole weekend. So I'll keep you updated on that. And I just thought today, as a bit of an introduction, we could start with a bit of a comedy video. Unfortunately, I won't be able to hear it, but you guys can. I hope this doesn't get blocked in any countries because I've ripped the video from the internet, but I think it should be okay. So this is just a bit of fun. If you think that you've got the wrong channel, if you see it on, you haven't. This is just a video from a very funny movie called Bridesmaids, which I went to see with my friend when it first came out, and I have hurt by the end of it from laughing so much.
Beautiful.
Here it is.
Breathtaking.
Holy shit, you look amazing.
I mean, that's a
That
dress.
dress is so pretty, it makes my stomach hurt.
Lillian, I don't know what to say. You look... Megan, are you okay? Oh.
I think my dress was probably just tight.
Oh my God. You got food poisoning from that restaurant, didn't you?
No, I had the same thing that she had, and I feel fine.
Oh my, okay.
Oh no.
What is happening?
Nothing's happening. Oh my God.
You know, I don't really care which dress we get. It doesn't matter to me. I just need to get off this white carpet.
No, okay. No, not the bathroom. Everybody, go outside. I'm serious. There's a bathroom across the street.
Everybody has the flu.
No, Megan. No! No! Look away! Megan, no! Look away! Oh!
You don't look very well, Annie. I feel fine.
Are you sure it wasn't that gray kind of lamb, or you ate a lot of that weird chicken? Was it that?
No. I feel fine. I think you'd just feel better if you threw up. I don't have to throw up.
I'm so sorry. Get away from me!
You're not sick. No, in fact, Helen, I'm hungry, and I wish I had a snack. You're hungry? Starving.
What did we eat? Oh, things are gone. What are you doing? It's coming out of me like lava. Don't you fucking look at me! Oh.
Jordan almonds. These are great. Thank you. Better? I was just hungry.
Yeah, everybody's really sick from that restaurant.
But it wasn't the restaurant.
Oh, no.
Lillian,
Oh, no.
where are you going?
I need a bathroom.
No, where are you going? Be careful! What are you doing?
It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It happened.
What are you doing?
It happened.
Oh no! Don't you dare ruin that dress!
Well, you're really doing it, aren't you? You're just shitting in the street.
So there was a little bit of humour to warm you up to the very serious subject of non-duality. Very serious. So separation exists in an imagined land of you, and it becomes an energetic expression that kind of follows the body around most of the time, like a shadow. Right here, right now, what can you say you are? Who can you say you are? So I just have to show you her little face. So we'll begin to serious subject. Hello. Hello. Would you like in, Khaleesi? Where did you go? She's gone to the other door now. She's going to bark at the other door. She's so cute.
You want in or out? You want in or out? You have to choose. I'm not going to keep getting up. Eh? You want in or out? You want in or out? You want in or out? In or out? Did you enjoy that? What a lucky girl you are. What a lucky girl you are. You go pop, 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 pop. So right here, right now, who and what are you? You always live in the imagination of who and what you are. You believe you're a name. You believe you're an age. You believe you arrived into this room and you sat down. But all of this is belief systems. It's not actually true. It's not reality. Reality is. And reality is no thing looking itself as everything. If you want to call it consciousness, or if you want to call it beingness, aliveness, call it whatever you like, I don't care. Whatever resonates. But no, if we use the word consciousness or beingness, the consciousness isn't separate from the appearances. It is all appearances. And the consciousness is totally empty. It's not a thing that can be found. Often we look at personal awareness and we think that's the big consciousness. So not the movement of the lens. So you can put personal awareness on thoughts or on your chest or on your foot or on Khaleesi. There can be the movement of that. But that isn't the big consciousness we're talking about. The perception is instantaneous and ever still, if we talk about it from consciousness terms. The perception never moves and is moving all the time. It's all things. Whether movement of attention or moves in the dream, it's a thing happening in the dream and can be perceived. So if we go down the traditional Advaita, they would say there is consciousness, and then consciousness is aware of I am. And they would say that neither of those are inside of you. They are everywhere and nowhere. You believe you are consciousness, but actually there is consciousness, and the appearance of you, the character, comes and goes in that consciousness. What's always present is consciousness and I am. The I am is a sense of existence. But I don't really like splitting them up because I see them as the same. The I am is the everything side and the consciousness is the nothing side. The I am is the love side and the consciousness is the emptiness side. It's not really separate, but traditionally they separated them just to make it easier to be able to talk about, I presume. Amazing that somebody ever managed to get this into words. And all teachers tend to say, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, and all students spend time bickering over which one is right and which one is wrong. And of course I'm right. I mean, that's the truth of it, really. I'm right when I say none of them are right. None of them are wrong. But there's just humanness. The way we speak as humans is we always have to compare it to something else. So we in a way always sound like our way is better or our way is the right way. Ignorance is when you believe that to be true, but when you speak about something you have to imply the others are wrong and that's right. So by me saying all other teachers, some say it's right, their way is right and this way is right and that way is right, whereas I say it doesn't really matter, whatever resonates. There is no truth to this, but I sound like I'm saying I'm right, because that's the nature of our language and that's the nature of being human. But that's changing and evolving, and it doesn't have to define being human. And it's not true. That's the beauty in seeing this and waking up, just seeing how untrue our thoughts are, what we think, the way we communicate is, and how far away from reality it is. Reality is so free and boundless, and it doesn't suffer at all. There is no one here that can suffer. It's only the person that can suffer because it believes it's real and it believes pain is happening to it. So animals, the rest of life doesn't suffer. It's only the human does because it assumes it's alive and that life is happening to it and that it exists in time and it lives this lie. Animals experience pain. I'm not saying go and beat up a dog because they don't experience pain. They experience pain, but they don't suffer. They don't suffer that pain, which is a big difference. Because to Khaleesi, there's nobody there having pain. There is only this wide, vast space, this infinite space that's free, that cannot hold on to anything. Even though pain, sustained pain can appear, sustained fear can appear, sustained joy can appear, it doesn't belong to her. So basically, in my definition of the end of suffering is it coming back to what is. At the moment, the way it's being experienced in most human bodies is they believe they're a moving person that's walking through a separate world. And if you come back to what is, then who you truly are is this stillness appearing as movement, and in that appears and disappears a person. The suffering is the belief that you are that person. And there's attachment to all the ideas, the belief systems, the feelings, the emotions, and the experiences of that person. And when you feel limited, when you feel like you are that separate person and you're living a lie, you always feel like there's something wrong. So you go on this journey to end that and to feel like you got to the right place. But you can never find that. You can never get to that. So the search gets more and more intense and more uncomfortable because you get more and more disappointed by life. You can't get there. You can't find it. Whereas really, the whole time, your essence was it. And your essence was there in every experience that happened. So I'm just putting my feet up. Well, that's nice. To keep moving the camera down as I slide down the seat. And this isn't about what I say. Don't hold on too much about what I say. Just let it kind of, the energy in which it's being spoken from, penetrate. That's what's the most important part, is that this talk isn't trying to get anywhere. It's just a happening. And I think that what often happens when somebody's speaking from that place is that the others begin to sense that and pick up on that. And so there begins to be a stillness that takes over. And that's who you are. It could also have the other effect and bring up immense discomfort as well. Who knows? But I think often the reason people are repetitively watching because they do feel that. So just forget about yourself and what you want, where you think you're going, your life, just for the next 2 hours, and just fall into the no place, no time. And as you fall into it, you begins to be seen there was no one falling into it. Who you believed yourself to be never existed. And it's not about the way the vessel behaves or the way, when I say vessel I mean the body-mind, that we can get so caught up on the way it should be, on what it says. I'm sure I contradict myself loads. That's part of speaking about an impossible subject. And part of what happens in this form now, I can't remember so much. And don't get caught up on whether you're too much on what you feel for the form that's speaking it. Just more let this talk remind you of the silence that you are. We come from a culture that's very much into worshipping idols. And in non-duality, there's no exception. And I'm not saying that's wrong, that's just what appears. But just remember, the true freedom is your essence. Not any form, not any behavior. Not any way of being. On the human level, really hearing non-duality makes the human become really itself. It stops trying to pretend to be someone in order to get love in time, and it just is itself in that moment. as it is, rather than this character that's been created in order to get love from people. Maybe a very nice character, or maybe an angry character because that got it love. Maybe a very intelligent character. Whatever it is, it was created in order to get love from the parents and from society. That stops playing out, and then you just become your true colours, like what you were when you were already a young kid. The true colours of the human. And the human, as the human form, isn't the one that gets enlightened, although normally waking up has strong effects on the body-mind mechanism, like I changed a lot. But it's not really about the characteristics. That's why you get all these different colours of teachers. And the teachers always say, yes, no, this is the way it is. You end up looking like this. But really, there's infinite possibilities always. What I'm trying to pass on is that there is no dogma in non-duality. Even though dogma can seem to appear in it, ultimately there is no dogma in it. We as humans like to make bold statements, me included. Like everything is beingness, that could become a dogma, but ultimately it's moving away from the belief systems and seeing the freedom that's there all the time. This boundless energy that's experiencing itself. There is a stillness experiencing itself. It's not the human that's perceiving this life. The human is an experience playing out in life. Your suffering comes from this energy that makes you believe you walked into this room, you turned on the computer, and you sat down and you chose to listen to my talk. That's only what seems to happen. In actuality, the reality is right now there is talk happening, and really everything ultimately is a mystery happening for no one. You don't know you came here. You don't know you're leaving. You don't know you're alive. Right here, right now. You don't know any of that. But this projection of the mind is constantly repeating who you are, where you've come from, where you're going, because it's afraid not to exist. But really, right here, right now, there is nobody that exists. There is this emptiness appearing as form, looking at itself innocently, without judgment. Judgment appears in the person, and that comes and goes. It's funny perception, isn't it? That must look very funny that you can see my cup like that. You see, I get very distorted. I'm sure it must be weird seeing me in human form, because you can see just by the movement of the cup the distortion of the view. In reality, I actually weigh 100 kilos. I'm 6'4", but that's the only English way of measuring. I don't know that in meters. I said it in England, we don't measure in kilos, we measure in stone. I know it's really backwards. We still measure in stones. People are like, what? A stone that you pick up from the garden? The rest of the world doesn't. So in England, I weigh about 8 or 9 stone, like 8.5, 9 stone. And in kilos, I don't know, that's like 50 to 60 kilos, somewhere between that. I don't really know. So I said it in kilos because I know the rest of the world's in kilos. Yeah, but really on the TV, I look like 8, 9 stone, I'm 50, 60 kilos. But in reality, I'm 100 kilos. And incredibly tall, with very big hands. The big hands, I think sometimes you can perceive, like that I've got very big hands. They're bigger than my head in reality. Gigantic hands. I think sometimes you get a sense of that. I can't quite hide it through the camera. Yaka-poo-poo-poo-poo-poo. Hello, Khaleesi. Hello. Your friend's barking down there. Who's down there? Huh? Who's down there? What's going on downstairs? Huh? Okay, so we have a lot of questions tonight, so we shall take some questions. So just be aware if you are sending questions that I do get a lot of questions, so I might not get a chance to reply to you tonight. Hi, Isabel. Hi, Matisse. Hi, Gotham. Hi, Lisa. Looking beautiful today. Thanks, Gotham. Can you please answer to question, who am I? However, I know answer does not exist in thoughts, but still want to know answer through the presence that you are. Can you please answer to question, who am I? Please describe personal awareness and big consciousness. Difference between the two. So, the difference. So personal awareness is the movement of the lens. It's like, so say if we have my camera. Right, okay. So we're going to put on my camera of my iPhone. Hang on, I just have to get the camera up here so I can see what I'm doing. So here, we have the camera of my iPhone, and the camera of my iPhone is viewing Lisa. Oh, look at that. Or Lisa's hand. Wrong hand. So it's viewing Lisa. And you see how I can move the camera to that side, to that side, to that side. See? And then to that side. And that is the movement of the personal awareness. The personal awareness is like the camera that moves the camera. So your personal awareness can move attention. You can move attention. But then something knows that camera, just like we know this camera. We look through this camera. So say if this camera was like Google goggles. And look at that. So say it was like Google goggles and we put it on our eyes, and through this camera we became who would we become? We became, oh, look at that eye. I'm getting distracted. We became Brad Pitt. So say we put this on and we became Brad Pitt. Now, you see, we put on the camera, so we're looking through the camera at the Brad Pitt world, but so say we are the big consciousness, we are that which perceives the camera lens and the movement of the camera lens. You understand? So say we are big consciousness, and this is personal awareness. So, and we're putting on this, and it's Google goggles. And what Google goggles are a virtual reality. So we put on the Google goggles of Brad Pitt. So it's as if we're looking through Brad Pitt's eyes. This is Brad Pitt's eyes, and on it goes. And then we've got this Google goggle world of Brad Pitt. And we're the big consciousness, and this is the personal awareness. And that's the same what the personal awareness is. So you can move the personal awareness to the top of your head. You can move it to the chest. You can move it to your big toe. And there is a perception of that movement. The big consciousness knows it. Often we think that when we first start this subject, that we think that that personal awareness is the big consciousness, because we can kind of look back at that personal awareness. But the fact that you can look back at it and you can see the personal awareness implies there is something that's bigger than that, because anything that's seen in the dream cannot be the seer. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? You cannot see the seer, yet the seer sees everything, and it is everything. It's not separate from everything. But Gautam, you've listened to my talks for so long, and you've been even to my talks in India. Let me just do my hair a little bit nicer. And you've been to my talks in India. You don't need to ask these questions. It's like there's an addiction to asking questions, because if you keep asking questions, then you stay a seeker. And what people never do is the advice that I give them, although know that this is a description of what can happen, it's not a prescription, because I don't see separate entities that are there that can do anything. The thing that I suggest is put the attention on that seeking energy. So right now, on the surface, it's manifesting as questions that you've got. You have questions. So is it personal awareness or big awareness or this or that? So just move your attention to where you feel discomfort in your body, because if you felt comfortable, you wouldn't be asking questions. There'll be nothing to ask about. But there's something that you feel that you're lacking and that you feel is not quite right. So you're trying to find the end of something being wrong in questions. Now there is a point to basically understanding the intellectual concepts of non-duality, but Gautam, I think that you understand it. I think the more what you have to do is find in your body where you feel uncomfortable and where you feel that seeking energy come from. And more than likely what I think you'll find, because you're a very intellectual person, is that you feel afraid. And so you're trying to escape that fear through the intellect. And it's never going to work. In a way, you're just encouraging that fear by not facing it. So just put your attention in that contraction in the body, in the discomfort, and rest your attention there. Just see what he's saying. No, actually, last time you said that I am mixing two things. From the head itself, body is comfortable. Oh, okay. I'm not sure that you're being honest with yourself, because if the body was comfortable, if you felt comfortable, I just don't think you'd be asking a question, because questions only arise from a sense of separation. If you really truly felt comfortable, then you'd just be content in yourself. You'd just be listening to me for the joy of it. Everyone always wants to be enlightened, because basically they feel not enough a lot of the time, and so now they want to already be enlightened so they can be lovable, and you are lovable as you are. You are lovable. Now, more than likely you're going to deny this because you don't want to acknowledge any of that, but I think I'm most probably right, because I can't imagine that a question would come if there wasn't seeking there. So there's a part of you that isn't in comfort. And I'm very humble, so I'm saying more than likely just to be humble because I'm English. And the English are very humble people. Actually, I have some work to do and read a few papers, and at the same time I'm avoiding work at the moment. Yeah. Hey, Ramon. Hi, Lisa. Nice view of your apartment. Looks much better than mine. Found the movie. Thanks for the tip. Well, of course it is, Ramon, because you don't live in an apartment. You live on a boat. So there's no comparison, really. Hey, Phyllis. Hi, Open. Ihan. Hi, lovely one. Your answer was fascinating last time, like usual, but it was only like the title of the real answer. You know instantly that you want it all, and still you have just the advertisement. When you hung up on me half a year ago and you said this, when you feel more open to being open, we talk again. And last time you said just this, for some reason, Open Ihan, you're not open to me. So if not me, maybe you made the progress. Maybe I am the biggest shithead you have ever met. And maybe my questions are not directly about liberation, just about how you feel and think of this life. But you can call it however you want, and I want to know the truth. I do not promise that I can love God or I can believe you. Still I want my 1,000 questions. Still I want to talk to you. See the bright side. You do not have to read my shit. You're not a shithead, Open Ihan. Nobody is a solid thing. Everybody is pure beingness. And then in that, energies and dynamics appear and disappear. And we do shitty things out of seeking, or humans do shitty things out of seeking. But then after they're gone, they're gone. That's not a definition of who you are. Absolutely love this movie. Seen it many, many times. But not very pleasant if you just had your dinner. Yeah, hopefully people hadn't just had their dinner. Maybe in England, because the English eat so early. Hi, Harley. Hi, Rahul. Hi, Lisa. Nice to see you. This is my question. I have the impression that the separate self covers the freedom that already is, which is all there is. So I believe that the me has to be strong to cover all there is. Is that true? Yeah. Which is all there is, yeah. Yeah, the separation is really strong, Rahul. It's like an energetic skin suit that's zipped up. It's like an energy which makes it feel like you're in here. And then everything is about you and your life in time. And what you can get. And you completing yourself. And this repetition of a story about you. Hi Lisa, really great to see you and your gorgeous dog. Everything seems different, peaceful since I have been listening to you. Thank you from my heart, pure love and gratitude to you. I can't think of any questions. You seem to say what I find closest to the pure meaning of truth. Oh, that's sweet. That's really beautiful message. Et toi. Can't pronounce your name. Et ta. Yeah, that's really sweet. And just remember that everything I say can't really be true. But what I think what you really resonate with, what the real truth that you resonate with, is the energy in which it's spoken with. That this isn't coming from someone. And there's a point to the concepts. They're relevant and they help relax the mind to an extent, and they help answer existential questions. And then the whole putting your attention in discomfort can help relax the body. But really the truth that I think you resonate with is the truth that we can't speak about, which is so beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Jose. Good afternoon, Lisa. Love. Yes, it's funny to see you in human form. You're really distorted. ROFL. Roll on the floor laughing. $100 kilos. Hi Lisa, thank you for bridesmaid clip. That was hilarious. Can I call and ask a question? Sure, Scott. Yeah, please call. I'm wondering about how, when the self or ego seems to be gone, there is time left present, and also I'm looking at it. Are there two, or am I the same as the timeless presence? Haha, you just started talking and they answered my question. But can we please talk and explore it a little? Sure. Cool if you're still there. Oh, hang on, Jason. Scott, I just have to answer you on my phone. Hey, Scott.
Hi.
Hey. Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Just
How's my audio?
It's very good.
Oh, good.
Hang on. I just, Can I just call you back 1 sec?
Yes.
Thanks. Hey.
Hey.
I'm not sure if that's, just speak again 1 second.
Hello. Good morning.
Hey. I'm not sure if you're, loud enough. I think I have to get my iPad. I'll call you back again. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
One
okay.
sec.
Hey Scott, sorry about that. The phone hasn't got enough speaker power.
Okay, how is it now?
I think it's good enough now.
All right, fantastic. Well, thanks for letting me call.
That's okay. Let me see if I can just set this up a bit better.
Okay. So, things for me are kind of becoming more simple lately, and that, the person seems to fade away at times, and then what's left is a sort of a presence or an awareness that's everywhere.
Yeah.
And what I'm confused about is that there's also something there looking at that awareness. I feel like it feels like me. And I don't know if that's just the ego's still there at those times. It's as if I'm a flashlight, but I can't really look at the flashlight, but the flashlight can look at this awareness that's everywhere.
I think that you may be mistaking the awarenesses. What do you mean it can look at this awareness that's everywhere, like the personal awareness?
I guess what I mean is that something is aware of the presence. So there's this presence that's everywhere, and yet, it's aware of
Itself.
Maybe it's just aware of itself.
Yeah. It might be that the mind is still there a bit, commentating, but that's okay. The mind commentates, but it's commentating and making it feel a little bit of divide. Or it could be that you're just not used to feeling that presence knows itself everywhere, but it can't actually see itself, but it knows itself. It knows it is instantly.
Yeah, that's what's surprising about it. Just while we're talking about it now, is that the presence is aware of itself without me reflecting on it.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry about it too much. I would just let it come and go and wash over you and not give it too much thought. It's a happening way beyond that person. That person always comes back in and claims and feels like it has something to do with it, or that it's involved in some way. And then it disappears again, and then there is just presence, and then it comes back. And I just wouldn't give it attention, not even giving it attention as to when it's there or when it's not.
I think I think that this just comes from, the person where I'm afraid of letting go of control.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I could just be swallowed up in this and just disappear into this timeless presence and always be free.
Yeah, it's so terrifying for that person. It really is. When that person comes back and comprehended that it never had any relevance. I know that sounds mean, but it never was experiencing this, and it never existed. That's really terrifying. It's like beyond fear of, say, a wolf or fear of a car crash. It's absolute existential terror to that person when it thinks about that.
Yeah,
So what
facing annihilation.
Totally, but not even like death annihilation, just total annihilation. It's just there is only presence that's aware of itself. That person never existed. It was total fiction. That you had a life, that you were born, that you had importance or no importance. So what you can do, even though this isn't a prescription, this is just a description, because ultimately that you is not there, but while that you comes back and begins to feel agitated about it, that appearance of that person can just explore where you're feeling that fear or that sense of loss of control in the body. Just explore what that sensation is a bit
Because the more that it's explored, it's seen that it's just not real. There's nothing really there. And that feeling doesn't belong to you, and there's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a bodily reaction that's appearing when the sense of self begins to feel like it's not in the controlling seat. And that bodily feeling appears in an infinite space that's so free. But sometimes these bodily feelings happen unconsciously, and then the sense of self is unconscious again, but acting out something in order to feel in control or in order to gain control. And it's all unconscious, that kind of functioning. But again, that's not a prescription, because there is no one I could give a prescription to. It's just a description of something that might happen next time when that comes up.
Yeah, it feels like it's a terror in my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, it experienced in kind of in a timelessness and in an infinite space.
Yeah.
There's a point
And
in my heart where there's this terror.
Yeah, and it's all totally illusionary, but it presents itself as real. And when it's really unconscious, that just gets acted out. What the separate person does is it attempts never to feel that. So if in a relationship you feel out of control, the person is attempting to not feel it. Whatever it is, it's the same feeling. If in work situation the person's attempting to try and avoid that feeling, you'll notice that you've had that feeling your whole life. And you've had it as a seed in things of wanting to control.
So is that, that's not even a question actually. That's the whole reason for trying to be a self.
Yeah.
Trying to remember the past all the time.
Yeah.
Think about the future all the time.
Yeah.
Always be on guard.
Yeah. So it feels like it has... Yeah, it feels like it has control. And that's exactly why it's imagining the past and telling itself stories about the future. Part of it is a functioning, like the human has a functioning to be able to recall past and future and to think about future. But most of it is about creating an identity. Most of the thinking throughout the day is about so you feel safe, so you can judge where you are in time. Because if you got bumped on the head now and you totally forgot anything, you'd forget everything, so you wouldn't even be afraid. But like all of time would disappear. If you had a sense of self that was there, that sense of self would be terrified of not knowing what the past and future is, because it's always telling itself these two sides so it knows where it's going and where it came from, because it's so scared of infinity, that infinite space of what we are. And then the other thing that it's doing, so it's trying to run away from that fear of existence. The other thing it's doing is trying to get to comfort and love. And what comfort and love is home, the end of seeking. So it's like trying to run away from the fear of love, and at the same time it's trying to run towards that love. It's like in a hamster ball, it's trying to avoid the fear of love, that infinity, and it's trying to run to love. And it just gets itself caught in a loop. And the more and more it grows, so over time it gets worse and worse. I think as it gets really older, so maybe in its 70s, 80s, it doesn't get the body stops functioning as well and it gets less, but it goes through a period of really growing and becoming strong, of always having to be in control, always blaming, always finding reason, always living in the intellect. It's so intense. It's so amazing though that we even get to discuss this. Because from this side, I just feel like a black hole and all these words are coming out, and it's just amazing that it actually makes sense, because I don't even know really what's happening, because I can kind of tell on one level, but the big shift kind of also made it really hard for me to see myself in time. It functions and I can think, but it's also like this speaking that comes from infinity. And my perception in time is very bad. It makes my memory very bad, and it makes me sound like I contradict myself a lot, because I'm not watching myself like I used to. Was always watching and guarding and trying to be someone, as now it's just blah, 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 and I'm whatever I am in that moment, and I'm always changing dependent on who I'm in relation with, because you always become a different person, whoever energy or whatever energy you're around, you respond to that energy, and really we're only responding machines. These black hole responding machines.
Yeah, it's funny how these things come out.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, even when there's no person there to decide or think about it or anything, things happen.
Yeah. And
Just all by themselves.
It's always been like that. Even when you're telling yourself a story that it was you, it still was coming from an infinite space, just with the added extra layer of you that's claiming this inside. But it's so amazing. It really is that all of this happens. It's like a total mystery and miracle. Sorry, I'm just putting my feet up. Ah, that's nice.
I was thinking it's a miracle to even pop out of that dream for a second.
Yeah.
And see what's been happening.
Yeah.
And right after I had that thought, I realized that it's almost the opposite. It's almost, how could you have been lost in a dream in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, both things are true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so bizarre.
It is.
Where are you calling from? I like your accent.
Oh, thanks. I'm calling from California.
Oh, that's a Californian accent?
I'm told that I have my own accent. I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
I talked to you once before and you thought I was from Canada.
Yeah, this is where I thought you were from again.
Yeah, right? And I was wearing a hat at the time. It looked like I was really cold.
You see, like, I just really make myself chuckle. I was going to go for the same thing again. I was going to tell you were Canadian. I was thinking it already.
Yeah, I have to try to speak slowly or no one can understand me.
How long ago was our conversation? Last week, and then I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I think we talked about a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
And we actually took this journey to the center of the heart, that same place of terror.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and
Sorry.
and I found out I was just a song that wanted to sing from the heart. I don't know, it was like a cartoon journey.
Huh.
And since then, I've just had more and more experiences of.
I remember. I'm beginning to remember now.
Yeah. Like now, I don't believe my mind as much anymore. In fact, most of the time, I don't believe it at all.
Yeah.
I just say, oh, okay, that's happening.
Yeah. And this is why, like, I can sometimes sound a bit intellectual, but I'm always trying to push on that it's just not true. And I spend lots of times trying to debunk what we think, because part of the seeking energy gets so stuck in believing that some thought or some concept is possibly true, and it really isn't. Whereas feelings, they're really intense, we can see they're maybe not true easier because they come in big waves and then disappear, so we can see that. And so maybe we're less attached to it. But with thoughts, we really believe that some sentence or some thoughts or some ideas are more true than others. And there cannot be any thought that can be true. There can be some thoughts that are more true than others, but there can't be any that's a reality, because we made up the words. We made up this language. It's like the whales with their sounds, believing that their sounds have meaning and really mean something, really mean the nature of reality. That their whale song means the nature of reality. And it means the nature of reality in the instant it appears, but in its meaning it doesn't. In what it means in time it doesn't. But in the very instant of that song, it's the nature of reality.
Yeah, it's just commentary. The thoughts are just commentary about the past.
Yeah.
I mean, they happen after the fact, anyways.
Yeah.
Like when you said they're trying to claim something, because they're claiming what happened a millisecond or a few seconds ago or a year ago.
Yeah.
Whereas what's happening is just happening.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, totally. Well, they're trying to predict. Normally when they're thinking about the future, it's about what you want to get. Like they're trying to predict, or they're trying to get to something. And it just is so irrelevant. This is all we ever have.
Yeah, in that terror that I'm trying to protect myself from, I'm not sure if that even exists.
Yeah.
it's like there's something in me, or there's something telling this story or telling these lies about some kind of a situation
Yeah.
that isn't even there.
Yeah. That's the really funky part about it, because actually in the very instant of it, in a way, it doesn't exist. In one way you could say it does and doesn't exist, but like it doesn't really exist like that. It's really, yeah. I mean, we
It's
get,
just something I've been doing.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. A whole world of darkness and terror that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, and
And yet,
a whole parent lifetime running away from that terror.
yeah, a whole apparent lifetime. It's nicer to just feel free in the heart.
But that one that says that isn't a reliable source. The one that says it's nicer to feel free in the heart, that's not even a reliable source. The reliable source is the instant perception of it.
Oh, right, yeah, that's commentary too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
And when I say, because normally the commentary is always about avoiding or getting. Not all the time, like sometimes we need commentary of how to do things. But normally when it's about yourself, it's always about getting away or getting to. And so when I say it's not a reliable source, I'm just trying to point to the instant of things. They're always this very instant. And in that, it's not nicer or not nicer, having it or not having it. In the very instant of that terror, neither polarities exist.
Yeah, I want to jump in and claim that and keep it forever.
Yeah. And that one's the one that doesn't exist. It's not a reality. The reality is the instant of it, which is neither something you want or don't want. In the
Right.
instant of it, it's just innocent energy. Not good or bad. The fact that we can think has been our biggest curse and our greatest thing as well, because the fact that we can think is we got lost in thinking, but by getting lost in thinking we have the possibility of being this self-aware animal that can go home, that can know its own freedom, that's different from the dog. The dog just is free, whereas because we lost home we can go home to it. But the thinking that something is painful or pleasurable, this is good or this is bad, when we identify and separate, we're always looking to try to maintain goodness, and that's such agony. Because life is this constant movement, this bundle of energy moving, and it's painful and pleasurable. The dog can't be aware of itself, so it just totally accepts whatever it feels and whatever it experiences in that instant, and it's not painful or pleasurable to the dog, because the dog has no concept of that. It just is. And there's such freedom in pain and pleasure when it's seen for what it really is. When it's believed that we experience pain or pleasure and that it belongs to us, then we're always trying to stay in pleasure. And this is so painful.
It is. It's a constant
Battle.
pushing away
Yeah.
from what's happening.
Yeah. Trying to get away from dark and get to light, and you can't. They come together.
Yeah, it's just this massive effort, constant effort.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for talking with me.
Oh, thanks. It's really lovely to talk to you. And I'm remembering you from last time. I can't remember what we talked about, but I remember this energy. It's
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks so much for calling and sharing again.
All right, thank you, Lisa.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Poppy. Hello, Lisa. It's me again, Poppy T. I've sent before a message on Skype about weight loss, and you said, "Oh, I'm a weight loss guru now." It was pretty funny. Sorry if sometimes I'm a bit cheeky to anyone that calls in. I never mean it personally. I just really love humour. And sometimes when you're the butt of the humour, it's not so funny. But, yeah. Now my problem is that I can't remember our talk, and I can't even remember saying that, but, so you have to talk to me like it's new. Now my problem is that I use food as something to complete me. And you said there's nothing that can complete me. But again, in the moment, I'm searching for something, and I feel bad for using food as a comfort and relief, because not only I gain weight, but again, I feel guilty and all these things. It's like I can't control it. And for that, I feel bad. I feel my body heavy, my stomach heavy as well. And I can't relax in the moment. Is there any way I can replace food with something else comforting? Oh, that's sweet, Poppy saying that. Like to stop this urge before it happens. My monkey mind goes everywhere, and I want to feel lighter, calmer, and love my body. Otherwise, being in this constant battle, body and mind, doesn't seem to cooperate. Thank you. Kisses. So, as you know, Poppy, I presume you're a woman, although that might be a prejudice. But normally it's women that have more issues with food, but it can be men. I apologise if I'm being prejudiced, but I presume you are. And maybe last time I told you that I used to suffer with an eating disorder. And the thing that I would recommend the most, so I just have to check that everything is working properly. Yes. The thing that I would recommend the most, and maybe I said this last time, is educate yourself about this. So, I could do hours and hours and talk about what it is to be woman. But again, I'm not trained in this subject. It's just from my own dismantling and understanding about what it is to be woman, the pressure it is to be a woman. Please, if you're a man, speak now. And, the way that the woman image has changed over the last 100 years, the effect of addiction, how by trying to diet or trying to not be obsessed with food, you make yourself more obsessed with food. Me telling you this, and me speaking about non-duality, so me telling you that food's not going to bring you completion, and speaking about non-duality, it's unlikely that it's going to remove that addictive energy that you have in yourself. So what I would really recommend is educating yourself and understanding that it's an addiction cycle that you've got into, understanding that addiction and getting support from outside. If you really wanted to, we could do sessions, but I'm sure that you could get that support from a group, AA group, an addiction group. You could look online for eating disorders, or because it is a form of eating disorder, the addiction to food, Overeating Anonymous, all these different groups. And the reason I suggest them is because if you do a session with me, you have to pay. Whereas all this stuff on the internet most probably is free. And I see that you're from somewhere in Eastern Europe or Russia. So it's most probably expensive. And and I'm not really trained in it. Whereas all these organisations are. And this isn't going to bring you to freedom, what I'm suggesting now. What I'm talking about, the non-duality, is the ultimate freedom. But sometimes, for the body-mind mechanism from the person, you need to balance it out. Otherwise, you're going to make it ill, and then it'll be impossible to hear non-duality. So when I was going through my stepping off the addiction, now often we don't want to hear this because we think non-duality is way better and it's like the ultimate freedom. And when we hear something like addiction to food, we don't want to hear that because we want the better image, or we feel ashamed of it. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. We live in such a screwed up society with so many bizarre conditionings, and no wonder people get all these addictions. And so I went through so many different stages of understanding it and helping people, using people around me to help. So I had to report to them and tell them what I'd been doing with food, because a lot of it was secrecy. Educating myself about what it was to be a woman and woman's image. I played with my image. I took off all my hair to see what it was like to be a woman that wasn't attractive to men. There was other reasons why I did that. I kept like not a diary, but a mental diary of when I ate food and what it felt like. I'm really seeing that it's only pleasure. It never completes me eating food, never. It never got me to a place where I felt satisfied. I just felt greed and wanted to put it in my mouth, and then I felt bloated and uncomfortable. So yeah, I hope that helps, Poppy Tea. Hey Jason, hi Lisa. What does it say on your shirt? I'm having trouble reading it. I don't even know. Keep the wild in you. Yes. Thanks a lot for the simplicity of words. Do you offer live silent sittings via YouTube sometimes? Vincent. No. Hi. When I am with other people and sometimes when I'm alone, I feel kind of fear, and it's confusing because it's without a reason, or maybe it is and I don't realise. Somehow I know this is the person and is observing, but something is in conflict with this. Thanks. Yeah, so what we do when we're separate is we always put reason to things. So I'm afraid because of my husband. I'm afraid because of what happened at work today. And actually this is superficial. Really what you're afraid of is what happened when you separated at the age of 1 or 2, is you're afraid of being alive. And that fear comes in and out. So some events happen in life which remind you of that fear of existence. So say not being in control of your husband or wife, or not being in control of your job or your money or something. Whatever it is, or an animal or a stranger can bring about fear. But it's just activating a fear that's underlying and that's already there deep in the cells. And that fear is that you're alive and that you exist separately from all things. And you're terrified of this. You're terrified of being alive. Because when you are alive, there's the possibility that you can die. So by believing that you do exist, you fear not existing. And what most people's life is about is constantly trying to maintain an identity to exist. So see that who you truly are is non-existence, and that non-existence is always present. It's always here, and it's never born and never dies. It's totally empty and it's full simultaneously. And this is who you are. You're not this person that has fears or doesn't have fears. You are presence. The presence didn't come into this room, didn't sit down in this room and won't leave this room. The presence is everything. You can't get away from presence. Presence is reality. Beautiful. Beautiful. Roxanne. Thank you. I loved it. Thank you. Hi, finally I could get to live stream. Thank you, Lisa. Hey, Julio. Suggest to Poppy to check out the video Teal Swan about eating disorders. Okay, so Poppy, Teal Swan about eating disorders. I'm not recommending it. This is from somebody else that's recommending it, but I've never seen it before. So yeah. I am a female and I don't really know if it's an addiction. I know I can avoid food or have it, but why not have it? Sometimes I eat out of boredom or stress. My mind knows subconsciously that food can help me, so I reach for it. It sounds like an addiction, Poppy. I mean, it might not be, but it sounds like your mind is thinking a lot about food. So you can have addiction at tapping on the floor, or you can have an addiction scratching your head. Maybe that makes you feel better. But it sounds like you've got a bit of a fixation on it and it's making you feel uncomfortable. But there's so much information out there, you know. You guys are so lucky. When I was seeking, there wasn't this information. If I had this information when I was growing up and I was, you know, in my early teens, my life would have been so much easier in certain ways. So use the internet, look it up, research, all these things. And don't be arrogant. I'm not saying you're arrogant, Poppy, but don't be arrogant in thinking non-duality will save these human qualities. Like, non-duality is the truth, and keep listening to non-duality. But while you're having all these problems in your daily life, then use daily life to fix it. So if you had a leak at your house, if your plumbing was leaking, you wouldn't think, oh well, nothing really exists, so it doesn't matter. But people get into this with non-duality. So they're having a problem in the flow of things and they just think, oh well, it doesn't really exist, it doesn't matter. So look it up, learn about it, inform yourself. I'm not saying that you haven't, Poppy, I don't know you and I'm making an assumption, but it's and if you have, then I think that maybe we need to do a personal session and talk about it more. But if you haven't, then that's the next stage. Hi, Lisa. I have some difficulties with my family, and I feel that it's more ego that keeps me away from them, like hiding because of some seeming differences. Can I call you about it? Sure, Vincent. You can call it. Cool. Vincent. Oh, I think you're a woman, Vincent. Picture. I'm not sure. But yes, cool. Hey, Will. Hey. Hello.
see you.
There you
Yes,
go.
I can.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hey,
Thanks for answering.
that's okay. Hang on, just let me put it.
I'll just stop you too because I hear us 2 times.
Yeah. So if you just
Okay, great.
there you go. Hey.
Yeah, really, like, I came back from Muji's satsang in Rishikesh, and it was really, really powerful for me. And like, since I come back, I really can feel a paradox, like deep awareness of everything, yet at the same time, some strong reaction can came, and even stronger than before. And what I want to say about it from my family is that I can see now that my tendencies to keep away from them was more something like sorry, I have difficulty to speak in English a little bit. But
Yeah.
some like always feel judged by them, and it's true that they judge me in a way, but in another way, I can see the beauty in them now. That's why I speak to you about paradox. Like, I feel more and more that the both are there.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I can really love them, but at the same time hate them.
Yeah, this is what happens when waking up, is that it takes off all the plasters and it lets out these raw feelings. And the best thing that you can do is just explore what's happening. So you can listen to non-duality and hear that you're not that, but then also explore what's happening in those feelings. So those more negative, so when it comes up really strongly, the hatred towards them, then you can explore your judgments towards them. Sometimes what we do when we get into this subject is we keep trying to repeat the I am or the awareness, so not to let this stuff out, but every so often it's like you're shaking a like champagne bottle. You need to take the top off and let it out. So just be honest with yourself about judgments that you have in your body about them, because you'll find there's judgments. Now you can't change their judgments towards you. That's the way those instruments are. And maybe they'll change, maybe they won't. But at the moment, that's more than likely the way they are and the way they've been for many years. And it's not your job to change them. It's nobody's job to change anyone else's. But to look at what happens there, it doesn't mean that you keep interacting with them, because if you've got a negative interaction, then more than likely, as you wake up more and more, you'll move away from that. It's what happens to a lot of people. A lot of people try to take their family and their loved ones with them, and they try to do it, they think out of love and compassion, but it's often out of fear of being alone. Because it is very difficult to interact with people that are very identified, but at the same time, you mustn't use that as an arrogance to escape your judgments when your judgments come up against them. That you've got to be honest with yourself, because I'm sure there will be judgments about people that are identified or their way of thinking, and just be really honest and open. Your job is just to be always as you are. And when that is just this vast freedom, then it's that vast freedom. But when it's contracted and tight and feeling lots of judgment, then you don't have to act it out, but you have to be honest to yourself that it's there. When we feel these contractions, often we keep trying to repeat to ourselves that we're freedom. We're freedom, we're freedom, we're freedom, to try to ignore it rather than to really embrace the ugliness of what we are being in that moment. Like you won't be able to run away from your shadow. It's like the shadow energy needs to come out to an extent.
But it doesn't mean be in it all the time. It's just being honest with it when it comes. And when waking up, because you stopped living in this strict story of who you are, and so you've not got this fixed mindset of who you are, then it means like you go through this process of the body releasing all these old conditioned ways of being. It's gone on for generations.
Sorry?
It's gone on for generations. Like you're an effect of many generations.
Yeah.
You're not something that's just appeared in this lifetime. Your cells, your DNA has come from many generations. Your way of thinking doesn't belong exclusively to you. It's a society's way of thinking and your family's way of thinking.
But most of the time, I don't feel a lot of similar or like they're always criticizing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But in a way, I'm more and more fine with it because myself, I'm in peace with what arises from me, and I feel it when it came from my heart. So I respect it, and now that I respect it, even if people judge me, it's not like that heavy.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just like, okay, if we can't be really together, like what I mean by it, it's like when we speak right now, I can sense you, that's what I mean by together. So if we can be together, why keeping interacting, Because I quit my family when I was quite young, and I just cut every link with them, don't call and everything. But something in me felt that it's just a reaction, that at that moment, it's like 6-7 years ago, at that moment it was right, I needed that. But now I feel like I have to come back into, regular world, or I don't know how to call it, but, really normal people, and just be compassionate with them, but stay myself, like not reducing how I see things and all of that. I feel that it's very, very important for me right now to be able to finally, it's just to always it makes me think about, sometimes I hear that like the sage can go to hell and come back without any problem. And I feel it's like going into the mind, into this regular world, and going to that faith, that word without problem. Always resting as awareness, even if in front there's a lot of contraction and all of this.
Yeah, to an extent. But if the sage had the ability to, if the door opened and the sage was sitting in hell, and the door opened out of hell, I'm sure the sage would get up and walk out of hell. So to an extent. But I just get a sense when you're speaking, and this isn't true for everyone, but just when you were speaking about that, I just wouldn't worry about all this intellectual stuff about doing it or not doing it, and just follow as much as you can what your body feels like doing. And so sometimes it might feel like being around your parents, and sometimes it might not. And just try to be as honest as you can and go as deep into your feelings as you can moment to moment, and try not to make too many rules about it, or too many it's got to be this way, but come back to what you're actually feeling in the current moment, and just notice it. And if you're feeling deep contraction in the body saying, no, I don't want to be around them, then that's okay to not be around them, but just notice it. And then if your heart is more open to them, go into it like that. Like rather than making a rule, just come back to more what's being felt. Because when you were speaking, I just felt like you were trying to make some sort of rule to make yourself more comfortable with the situation. And really, there are no rules. We've got to come back to just presence, and then the body kind of responds. When we're waking up, though, we kind of form these rules to stop us running away from pain all the time. Because normally we're in this conditioning of constantly running away from pain and trying to get to pleasure. So we kind of form these rules to explore pain to an extent and to explore what's going on in the body, my mechanism. But then after a period, we have to come back to just the body doing what it wants to do in every given moment, and just trusting the divine acting out through the body. And just being aware of what's happening. And that really everything's okay.
I like that. That's way more simple.
Yeah.
I think I just, put me another box, like I have to be like this to be, to be present or anything,
But sometimes this is relevant, like in the past, going back to your parents, like rather than running away from the pain, has relevance. But now it just feels like more, you don't need to have your structure. You can just follow more the flow.
Yeah, it will unfold by itself. I don't have to say, I have to do it. That's my number thing to do today.
Yeah.
It's just... thank you. I feel like I was giving me some pressure to
I
always
felt like that
be
too.
passionate with them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not that. It's like, what is this? So I have to respect that too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, with pleasure. Nice. Oh, thank you so much for calling. It was lovely speaking with you.
It's very a pleasure.
Thanks. Oh, bye, sweetie.
Thank you.
That was nice. Thanks for that. It was very sweet. Thank you. Happy customer. Love you. Oh, thank you. Well, thanks, guys. There's no more questions now, so I might as well end it now. It's almost 8 o'clock. Oh, I love you. Thank you. Bye.